Story 1. She would get mad. Then I would drape a towel on her shoulders and say, "Now you're super mad." It worked every time. Story 2. My ex wanted a ride and she wouldn't stop calling me at work. Finally, I snapped and said, "I can't, Angela. I'm working." Ex, forget you. Asterisk click. Asterisk. Story 3. I am not criticizing you. I am simply sharing my experience with my friends. Story 4. You need to see a psychiatrist. She got very angry, and years after we broke up, she did, and it turns out she was, in fact, bipolar. I said, "Damn, you really paid someone to tell you that?" "I can and have told you as much for free. Not that it helps. I'm not a doctor, so it's not like I could prescribe anything." Story 5. You are more attracted to men than women, and there is nothing wrong with that. This would make sense to you if you were true to yourself. Story 6. Anything that implied I talked to anybody else at all or that I had been on the internet in any capacity. Story 7. It's not a sentence. It's a lack thereof. Completely ignoring my abusive, narcissistic ex has thrown him off the deep end. He just can't comprehend how someone could remove him from their life so completely. Story 8. Don't be proud to be the woman who taught that man there are much more important things in life than good looks. Story 9. I am going to live with Dad, said the children. Why is my last name different from your last name, Mommy? Any questions the children had about their dad upset her. Directly from me, how are the children? Why don't you communicate with me about them? Anything related to discussing the children upsets them. Story 10. Looks like your investments are down today. I thought the way to get rich was to buy expensive contrarian investing newsletters and do what they suggested. It didn't work at all. Story 11. Calm down. Seriously, in no universe has this statement met with the response directed at it. Story 12. Those two words inexplicably infuriated my ex. Every time she would tell me something I already knew, and I replied, "I know," she would get very angry with me. I don't know if she felt it was smug of me to know things or what, but it caused a lot of drama when I said those two little words. Suffice to say, we were not reenacting any Han Solo and Princess Leia scenes. Story 13. I think you have father issues. I never considered that she did until one day she was very insistent that she didn't. Story 14. I'm doing well financially now, while you are a single mother living in your mother's basement with a child from an affair. How is life going? Story 15. I want or I would like or I think or even it is the case that I was forbidden from having opinions, needs, desires, likes, or expressing feelings. I do not think I have ever known a more controlling person. I am glad I am far away from him. Story 16. Keep the peace. Why does the wrong party always have to keep the peace? Forget the peace. Choose war. Story 17. I love George Bush. High school during the Afghanistan and Iraq wars, long after they became universally unpopular. Story 18. Why waste words when I can smile and wave, then continue walking past her when she tries to start a conversation? Story 19. Level 1. Hippie style. Hey, that's fine with me. Level 2. Hey, if that's fine with you, it's fine with me too. Level 3. It's good that we discussed this. At level 3 at the latest, she completely loses her composure. Story 20. I found the 10-inch item you had been hiding in your closet in a shoebox, in your bedside table drawer, because you forgot to put it back in its hiding spot after the last time you used it. He identifies as a straight male, while I am a bisexual female. Story 21. I don't think you should pour cooking fat down the drain. Oh, those dark rings in the lawn are caused by a fungus known as fairy rings. No, I don't believe a ball thrown at the North Pole would come back to you, even if you throw it hard. Story 22. You smell funny. It's my favorite because she will go crazy bathing, exfoliating, and washing like a madwoman for most of the day. They say that a new wrinkle works well too. Story 23. You wanted to take a break. Don't be upset. I found someone better. I'm glad you couldn't perform with that person you started all this over. Story 24. And an eggless omelet for me, please, or any other food request. He is a great person and also a professional chef. Story 25. Here's your burrito. I had them add extra burrito sauce. No joke, he would flip over too much burrito sauce. It was embarrassing. Story 26. Something brief to make them feel like they are not receiving the attention they desire. Story 27. Have you taken your medications today? She did not like being reminded of this, possibly because she refused to take them for 2 years and ended up in the hospital for behavioral issues as a result. If only something could have prevented that. Story 28. I find that some people hate confidence. They want me to feel inadequate. When I acknowledge their opinion with okay, they know I do not agree. I no longer have to worry about whether we agree, so I simply say okay. Story 29. I don't like Joseph and I know I can't forbid whom you have contact with, but I don't trust him and I don't like him. Story 30. I am the one going on a solo trip to Japan, not you. I have always wanted to go to Japan, and so did my ex. Cool, right? Wrong. She said she needed to do a solo trip as that is what she has always wanted. I thought we have been dating for 5 years, and you were going to visit a country we have both wanted to see by yourself. Fine, but this was a pattern with her. She would book a trip with all her friends and then never tell me until it was too late. By the end, she was constantly going on trips without me, not even bothering to ask if I wanted to join. I found out she was cheating on me the whole time. So guess what? I have a 3-week solo trip to Japan coming up. I have never been more excited, and I think about how miserable she would have made me if she were there. Story 31. He reacted angrily if I dared to apologize. It would lead to a lengthy, loud explanation of all the reasons I wasn't truly sorry. I often found myself in situations with very angry people. It's a shame. I spent many drives looking out the window at the natural world, wondering how I ended up with someone so hostile. If only I had a bucket of sardines. Story 32. No longer being sexually attracted to someone after a sex change is not homophobic. I understand this may provoke anger because we had that exact conversation. Story 33. This punk record is better than Rush or Dream Theater, even though it was made on inexpensive equipment by people with minimal skills. This piece of art you spent a long time on isn't your best work. Just because your friends from high school are functioning addicts doesn't mean they are not addicts, and therefore safe for you to hang around with after you have gotten sober. Story 34. Who here thinks about manipulating people's emotions so often that they have built a psychological warfare arsenal? Story 35. How much you resemble your father. She dislikes her father's behavior, yet she is exhibiting the same traits, resulting in negative consequences for the children. Story 36. I couldn't reply to a text all day because I was busy, and he would get very upset about it. Story 37. I am completely forbidden from ever saying, yes, Miss Kitty, again. It's not like I would ever see her since I escaped a state away. Story 38. I should have never left Becky. Did I ever tell you how good she was? Or maybe I should have married your sister. Story 39. Not mine, but a friend's. You are just like your mom. She would probably roll into a ball, shrivel up, then die. The sad part is she is somewhat like her mom. Why do you think my friend broke up with her? Story 40. Sometimes it's best to say nothing at all. I went no contact with one of my exes who was a narcissist and blocked him on everything. I haven't spoken to him in years, and we don't run in the same circles. He still occasionally tries to talk to my son to find out about me. My son is grown, so I told him that it was his choice if he wanted to keep in contact with him, but not to share anything about me or how I'm doing. After my son realized the situation, he made the same decision to cut contact. Sometimes, not having the satisfaction of being able to reach out and know what is happening in your life is enough to drive them up the wall. He can just sit there and think about me and never truly know. Story 41. You do not have Lyme disease and are faking it for attention. I have always suspected that my ex never had chronic Lyme disease. The inconsistencies in her stories and medical care, her claim of having a seizure where every medical professional she saw said she was not seizing or did not have a seizure, her blind faith in homeopathy while rejecting all forms of verified medicine, and her strong reactions to normal conversations about invisible illnesses all make me doubt her claims. Additionally, she used her illness as an excuse constantly and often made me feel bad for being healthy and not sick. What a toxic person. Story 42. I'm home from work. Good morning. How are you? Any conversation that included me speaking or being near her. Story 43. Generally, he was such a stoic presence that if I ever actually infuriated him, I would have no clue. That says all it needs to. Story 44. What's up, Turtle Bob? He would set me aflame. He would literally melt me down. Story 45. Get a job. This occurred after our youngest was of school age, but before she left with her partner and had a child with him to avoid working. Story 46. I could tell him what a deceitful parent he is to all his children, along with a long list of reasons. However, I don't feel the need to waste my breath, as he will simply make excuses. Story 47. Your father would probably still be alive if he hadn't caught you with the dog and the jar of peanut butter that one time. Story 48. You smell like you forgot to clean yourself. He was one of those people who never cleaned himself because he thought it would make him gay. Story 49. You really need to do leg day once in your life. Cue the anger of a triangle-shaped man-child. Story 50. As far as I'm concerned, is there a reason you wanted to talk? Or is this going to be a waste of my time? Worked just fine the last time. I know this because that was almost 3 years ago. Story 51. Let's discuss how you entered your neighbors' houses and urinated in their underwear drawers when you were a teenager. Story 52. I cannot tell you anything about her. I cut people out of my life completely when they aren't there for a positive reason. When I say people, I mean everyone, family, friends, whomever. I don't want you in my life if it's going to drag me down. I don't care about your drug problem, your cheating spouse, or how you blew all your money to maintain your status. Now you're going to be homeless. Story 53. Name recorded an album with John Denver. I used to tell people that randomly, then walk off and leave him to explain that it was when he was 10 and in a boys' choir that recorded backing vocals on a track. I thought it was a cool story, but he hated it, so I started using it to get under his skin. Story 54. Can we talk? That hurts me seemed to push the covert narcissist. Is there any chance you can help with our child's braces, sports, food, clothes, or anything that involves responsibility this month? That was enough to receive full paragraphs explaining how I'm a horrible person for even asking. 1 year, he contributed $12 in child support for 3 children and would become very angry. Story 55. There are exceptions to every rule. He has Asperger's and sees the world in black and white. Things that do not align with his imaginary rules about how society should function frustrate him. Story 56. I really like this song. We were both in the rave scene in the late 1990s, and years later, I still enjoyed listening to electronic music from that era. My ex was bitter from her previous marriage and was holding on to a lot of anger, which was a significant red flag that I chose to ignore. Whenever I expressed this sentiment, she would snap and say, "That was 20 years ago. Although we divorced amicably, I wish we had done so much earlier." She was fundamentally an unhappy person who dragged me down, and I spent a lot of time feeling lonely in the relationship. Story 57. One of my exes had borderline personality disorder, so saying all your problems are caused by you would likely provoke her to harm me again. Story 58. When I first started living with my girlfriend, she would become frustrated with how I said, "yeah," when she asked me to confirm something. She felt that the tone in which I said it had a condescending undertone. I kept telling her that wasn't the case and that it was just how I grew up saying it. She finally believed me after meeting the rest of my family, who all said yeah or yes in the same way. Story 59. You will do anything. The last time I said that, he was headbutting the exposed brick wall in our bedroom. Story 60. No joke. I could ask a friend about her mother, "How is your mother?" and it would turn into a big deal. This is, of course, after the breakup. Her mother had actually tried to set us up at one point in the past, and I knew her well before I knew my ex. Apparently, anytime my name came up, her mother would scold her for letting me go. Story 61. I don't care about making my ex furious. But my wife, it's a friendship stone. Let's blow on it. Foe. Story 62. If you are going to throw things and scream, I do not want to be around you. It is usually followed by, it's like you do not even care about how I feel. Story 63. I'm still alive. She literally hates me and thinks I ruined her life just by existing. She divorced me and continues to blame me even though she was the one who cheated multiple times. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.